Are you constantly striving to be productive, to achieve more, and to do better? Do you feel guilty when you're not working, even during your downtime? If so, you may be struggling with toxic productivity. In this episode, we'll explore 10 signs that you may be struggling with toxic productivity, and we'll share how it can harm your well-being and relationships, along with strategies for how you can cultivate a healthier relationship with productivity. Tune in to learn how to prioritize your well-being without sacrificing your success. This is episode number 150, 10 Signs You're Struggling with Toxic Productivity. Welcome to Calmly Coping. My name is Tati Garcia, and I'm a licensed therapist and coach who helps high achievers become more calm, balanced, and confident from within. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, so I just looked up the definition for toxic productivity, and it is the drive to be productive all the time, not just at work, but in every area of life. And it can refer to the harmful mindset and behaviors that can arise from that desire to always be productive, to always be doing something that is checking off some sort of box. And especially when your productivity becomes a measure of your self-worth or a way to avoid difficult emotions or challenges. So let me just stay busy because when I slow down, things feel so overwhelming and I can't deal with all the thoughts going on in my mind and all the stresses. So let me feel like I have some semblance of control by continuing to stay productive. If this sounds like you, then you are definitely not alone, and we're going to dive into this topic deeper in this episode. But first, I want to talk about how toxic productivity is something that can show up especially in high achievers. So somebody who's high achieving is somebody who is focused on achievement, goal setting. And so it can just go hand in hand. It's easy to see how being somebody who's focused on achievement and success and getting things done, which just want to say those are not inherently bad things. It's not wrong to want to work towards things and achieve things. I am certainly that way. However, if you become so focused on that at the expense of other things, then it can turn into that toxic productivity that I'm talking about. And that drive for success can turn into a self-destructive cycle. So now let's talk about those 10 signs that you might be struggling with toxic productivity. So sign number 1 is constantly feeling like you're not doing enough. So feeling like no matter what you do, no matter how much you accomplish, no matter how much money you make, no matter what position you achieve or promotion you get or title or degree or certificate or training or amount of time you spend doing something, no matter how many chores you do or whatever, it feels like it's never enough and it feels like there's always more to do. So this can be one sign that you're in this place of struggling with toxic productivity. Sign number 2 is difficulty relaxing or taking breaks without feeling guilty. And this is something that comes up so often in the clients and students that I work with who struggle with high functioning anxiety, which I have tons of episodes about that. So if you're interested in learning more about high functioning anxiety, just go to my podcast, YouTube channel, wherever you are, Calmly Coping, and look through my episodes. You'll find tons of resources on it. But that struggle with feeling as though you don't deserve to take breaks or relax. And so this guilt can come up, like I'm doing something wrong. I shouldn't be resting or relaxing. I should be being productive. I should be getting more things done. And so if you're the kind of person who that guilt comes up when you're relaxing or slowing down, you may be stuck in this cycle or this place of toxic productivity, feeling as though you always need to be productive, even when you're resting and recharging. So even when it's the weekend or the evening or you're on vacation, you can still feel this urge to do more and get more things done. Sign number 3 is prioritizing productivity over your well-being or your relationships. So maybe you are neglecting self-care, like time for exercise or any mental health practices that are helpful for you, like meditation or journaling or therapy or anything else. Or you're prioritizing your relationships. So you are constantly working or constantly cleaning the house or doing chores rather than spending time with your family or partner or friends or whomever. So if you find that you're in this place of constantly focusing on doing things and then neglecting yourself or your relationships, then you may be in this place of toxic productivity. Sign number 4 is feeling burnt out or exhausted despite achieving success. Now, you may be in the situation where you feel as though your job requires you to work tons of hours and do all of this in order to achieve success, or you're in a workplace that is not supportive of your mental health. This could be something different if it's maybe somebody else is putting these expectations upon you. But it can sometimes be a both and. It can be you're in this workplace where these expectations are put upon you and you're putting these own expectations upon yourself, and you feel as though you need to do more and more, maybe because of a fear of what if I stop or slow down, then I'm not going to be successful anymore. And, with this specific sign, it's maybe you're already in a place of you have everything you need. You have your basic needs met. You're not struggling when it comes to finances or an area of your life where you feel as though it's significantly lacking to the point where it's preventing you from caring for yourself or others, but you're still feeling in this place of burnout and exhaustion. Or maybe you've reached a goal that you had set for yourself in the past and you're in a place where you're feeling comfortable or okay, but you still feel this pressure to continue being productive and continue doing more at the expense of your own well-being. Sign number 5 is being overly critical of yourself or others for not being productive enough. So this can be maybe you have this inner critic inside yourself that, when you relax, you need to be more productive, you're very critical or judgmental, or this could be of other people. So maybe you are projecting this onto others. So maybe when you see family members or friends relaxing or taking vacations, you're like, oh, it must be nice. Or, how come you're not doing more? Or you're so lazy. So maybe you're projecting these criticisms onto other people because you feel as though, well, they always need to be productive too. This can be another sign of that toxic productivity. Sign number 6 is obsessively tracking your time and accomplishments. So this could be constantly keeping track by to-do lists, or constantly tracking and being aware of the time that you're spent doing things and feeling like you need to schedule out every single minute of the day, and often to the point where you're overscheduling yourself. So this can be another sign of that toxic productivity. Another sign can be focusing more on the end result than on the journey. So you're more focused on what is the outcome of this rather than the process of doing it. And so you might be more focused on, let's say, if you're somebody who enjoys reading and you track the books that you read, this is something that I do. Maybe it's, okay, I want to check off, finish reading this book so I can add it to my list so I can have 50 books read this year, rather than actually enjoying the process of reading. So it's more about the outcome and what it's going to get you than it is the process of actually doing the thing. Sign number 8 is if perfectionism and fear of failure are driving your productivity. Now, this is something that shows up a lot in high functioning anxiety. So that's high achievers who are struggling with anxiety and that fear of failure in the background. So this is when the high expectations or the fear of, if I don't do this, then everything's going to fall apart. If that's driving your productivity, you may be in this place of toxic productivity as well. Sign number 9 is feeling anxious or lost when you're not being productive. So feeling a strong sense of anxiety or feeling like, well, I don't know what to do with myself now that I don't have things to do, or now that I'm not being productive, what am I going to do with my time? So if you feel as though you're so focused on getting things done and being productive that you don't know how to otherwise spend free time or time for hobbies or time for yourself, this could be a sign that you're in this place of toxic productivity. The next sign is difficulty enjoying leisure time or hobbies or time for yourself without feeling like it's a waste of time. So this is something I commonly hear, that people feel as though, well, if I'm not getting something done or if I'm not achieving or accomplishing something, then it's a waste of time, when that is totally not true. And, when you are taking time for yourself, for hobbies, time to just do nothing, that is so important and necessary. So if you find that you're seeing hobbies, time for yourself, downtime as a waste of time, that could be a sign that you are in this place of toxic productivity. If you heard this list and you're like, yes, that is me, and you resonated with one, most, or all of these, then now I'm going to share some strategies to help you to cultivate a healthier relationship with productivity. So first are mindset shifts to transform your relationship with productivity. One thing can be redefining success and what it means to you to achieve what it is that you want. Is it about checking things off a list? Or, for many people, it can be about having a certain kind of lifestyle, having presence in your life. for yourself and for your relationships. So really reflecting back, how important is it for me to just check this thing off a list or to just get this thing done? And is it less about getting things done than it is about the quality and intention that you are putting into your life and the things that you do? And when you can come to things from that sort of perspective, that can help you to have more presence, and it can also help you to get out of that cycle of, I just need to get this thing done, otherwise I'm not good enough, otherwise, everything's going to fall apart, and help you to focus more on what is the intention and the attention that I can put into this moment and into actually being present for doing this thing rather than seeing it as a means to an end. Another thing that can be important to reflect upon is if you find that your self-worth is tied to your productivity, and I have an entire podcast episode on this topic that I will link in the description of the show notes, depending on where you're checking this episode out. But that can be something to look into. If you find that your self-worth is tied to how productive you are, to the type of career that you have, or anything else, looking at how you feel about yourself as a person and feeling good enough from within without needing to accomplish or do things to prove that to yourself. And another thing that can be helpful is cultivating that healthier relationship with productivity by integrating more balance into your life and more self-compassion. So first, balance is it's not about like 50-50 productivity and resting, but it's about listening to your mind, listening to your body, and assessing when you're doing things, when is it that my mind or body is giving me a sign that it's time to take a step back and take a rest, and looking at the signals that your body and mind might be giving you, like tiredness or exhaustion or irritability or hunger or whatever it is. So trying to have more of that balance between productivity and maybe underestimating how much it is that you would like to get done during the day. So you're not in this place of constantly feeling like I've never done it all, I've never done enough. And when it comes to self-compassion, that is just the act of being kind to yourself and understanding and recognizing that you're only one person, you're not a machine, your function is not to constantly be doing things and being productive, and that's okay. And so see if you can start to speak to yourself more compassionately and speak to yourself like you might to a friend. And just remember that well-being and success, those are not mutually exclusive. You can care for yourself and you can be successful. So if you find that you're in this place of trying to achieve success at the expense of your well-being, seeing what you can do to take care of yourself, tune into yourself, and take more time to be present for yourself so that you can prevent this from continuing to happen. I mentioned high functioning anxiety a few times in this episode, so if you're curious what it is, if you're curious if you may have it, then I have a free quiz to help you to identify that, as well as some free resources to help you get started in managing it. You can go to hfaquiz.com to learn more and to take the quiz. To wrap it up, in this episode, I shared 10 signs that you might be struggling with toxic productivity and a few techniques that might be helpful for you to integrate in order to cope with it. If you're watching this on YouTube, then please leave a comment with your answer to this question below. What is one small change that you can make in your daily routine or your mindset to prioritize your well-being over toxic productivity? If you'd like to share your thoughts on that topic, you can just reflect on it in a journal, or you can join our supportive group for high functioning anxiety by going to calmlycoping.com/group. If this topic interests you, then please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you get notified whenever I release a new episode. And while you wait for next week's episode, I have other episodes about decreasing anxiety, adopting a healthy mindset, and managing your time and energy. So be sure to check out these episodes here. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and until next time, be calm.